Now, here we are. We got everyone to follow, everyone seems to be perfect, no one is struggling, but there's no one left to walk with. Everyone shares success. No one shares defeat. No one asks for help. Hi, just before this video starts, I want to say thank you to all of you who watched my last video. The feedback was phenomenal and I'm very grateful that you enjoyed the video and maybe got a deeper look into the topic of racism. So if you haven't watched it by now, I put a link somewhere up here so you can watch it, but after this video. Okay, probably another week. Gosh, this is just too much. I don't know if I'm able to finish all this alone. Oh, hi Mark. Yes, good hearing from you. It's been a long time. What's the situation? Oh, you just know how it is. It's a bit busy, but otherwise totally relaxed. I was out last week and everything else is great. How's your life? Does this look familiar to you? Do you recognize yourself? Stressed, overstrained, tired, exhausted? Besides the question whether you should work a little less and maybe reorganize your schedule, you should ask yourself another question. Do you find it hard to ask for help? Should you perhaps learn to ask for help earlier? I had to. I still remember a time when asking for help was quite a struggle for me. Now that sounds like this was ages ago, but in fact it's just a few years ago. I can't tell you exactly what part of my growing up was involved, but at some point I got the idea that it would be nice to achieve something completely on your own. And don't get me wrong, it is. And tomorrow, when I'm back at the gym, I will try to lift the weight on my own. And at my next university exam, I'll probably refrain from making it a group effort, but some things in life are worth thinking about to ask for some help. When I was writing the script for the video you're watching right now, I really thought about, okay, what were the points for me that helped me to ask for help easier, earlier, without hesitation. And I thought about what helped me to be less likely to give the classic "I'm fine, everything is great" answer, and be more likely to engage in real conversation and ask for help more frequently. I found 4 points and I will share these points at the end of the video, so stick to the end. Okay, so let's get started. Quick question. From the people you've talked to in the last 6 weeks, how many of them have responded to you, "How are you?" with, "Honestly, I'm in the worst place right now. Work sucks, I haven't been in the gym in weeks, we don't even need to talk about nutrition, and I just don't feel well right now"? Let me take a guess. It's not a single one. Maybe one, at most 2. Okay, well, of course it could be possible that your friends are absolute high flyers, never tired, never exhausted, never busy, never under stress. But maybe, just maybe, we have somehow gotten into the habit of not being completely honest when we are asked how we're doing. We answer what we're doing right now. "Yeah, a lot of work right now." We answer where we're coming from. "Yeah, I just went shopping, everything else is fine." We answer what we did last week, last month, last days, next week, next month, next year, last year, whatever. We answer whatever, but the question we were actually asked. So thinking about this topic, I realized that we live in a world in which we are constantly exposed to the supposedly perfect. Open up Instagram, it's 99% of the people there showing their best angles, looking completely perfect. Walk through the streets, past the shop windows, you see Photoshop bodies, perfectly styled hair, shiny white teeth, and you could go on like this forever. I'd like to make a brief mention here that I think there is a positive change, more reality on Instagram and other things, but to be honest, we have a lot of work left to do. I believe that this leads us to think that nobody else has problems. Everyone gets along somehow. Everyone except me. Everyone except you. We're the only ones who somehow can't get it together, when in reality it actually looks pretty different. Everyone has problems. We all fall down and we all definitely are struggling. I think another thing that makes it difficult to ask for help is pride. Now, I can only speak for myself, but for me, pride is always a thing that does me no good, especially if it prevents me from asking for help. But to be completely honest, it's easy to believe this illusion, to assume that everyone else is doing just fine and everyone else is doing just great, especially when it's everything you see. You look around and it's everything you see. Everybody is just somehow getting along. And then I think it's only understandable that you don't want to be the one for whom everything is just somehow too much. Now, here we are. We got everyone to follow. Everyone seems to be perfect. No one is struggling. But there's no one left to walk with. Everyone shares success. No one shares defeat. No one asks for help. I think that it is time for change. It is time that we become more open, more authentic, and start to really communicate in the right way with people in our social environment. At the end of the day, we are all in this together. We are all human beings. Failure is part of our humanity. One thing I have noticed is that when I began to be more open, be more authentic in my communication, I started to realize that the people around me started to communicate with me in another way. Less and less it was about sharing the next victory and the next achievement, but the communication somehow became more raw, real, and meaningful. Don't get me wrong, it's not about the next conversation being non-stop whining. By the way, that would be fine if the situation demanded it, but it's rather about us starting to be authentic with each other. Not only to share something when we already achieved it, already succeeded, but also when it is difficult, when it's not only being happy and being relaxed, but when we actually need someone to talk to, when we need some help. It's about sincerity and authenticity. I think this is a major part of being human. We all have weaknesses, and more than that, we have many. We're not robots, and if we try to act like one, we won't be doing ourselves any favors. Even the most successful, independent person is in need of other people. We need each other. So the next time you talk to a friend, try to actually say how you feel. Try to engage in a real conversation, not what you were doing last week, last month, last year, I don't know, but how you actually feel. Suppress the urge to answer right back with everything is fine, just a little bit stressful, but go ahead and ask yourself, how am I really feeling? Maybe it's just the right time to ask for some help. Okay, so before this video ends, I want to share the 4 points which made it easier for me to ask for help and find out how I'm really feeling. And I want to share these with you. So first point for me is less time on social media. If you can distance yourself from all the unreal stuff that is going on there, do it. As much fun as it is to scroll on Instagram for hours, or I don't know if anybody uses Facebook anymore, but you get the idea. most of the time it's not doing us any good. It lets us think that we're the only ones who are not perfect, not just doing it, and we're the only ones who are struggling, but in fact that's just not the case. There is support, there is help, there is community, but I think there are better places for that than social media. The second point I want to make is more quality time with friends. Reach out to your friends, go out, have fun, talk about stuff, try something new, and remember, if you don't succeed in the first few minutes, we are all failing, we are all struggling. Although it sometimes doesn't feel like it, the people around you are in the same boat as you. Failing, trying, winning, all of it. Being part of a community is not only a good thing, but it makes asking for help a lot easier. The third point I want to mention is more quality communication. For me, that includes opening up and engage in sincere conversation. From time to time, a conversation which not just barely scratches the surface, but dives deeper into what we are actually feeling and how we are doing is just what you need. So the fourth point is listen. I know sometimes it's hard just to sit there and listen, but sometimes it's just what you need. Sometimes it's just what every one of us needs. Listen. We can talk all we want. If our opposite is not listening, we want to create conversation which is actually supporting and lead to better understanding of each other. Okay, so I think this wraps it up. I hope you enjoyed this video and maybe it'll make it easier for you to ask for some help next time. If you like this video, just call a friend, ask them how they're doing, how they're really doing, and try to engage in a real conversation, which does not only help him, but maybe it does help you too. See you in the next one. Bye.